business partner of 30 years.
31?
31.
Well, I'll tell you what, couldn't find a better team. If everybody take a look at the book in front of you for a second. Do me a favor and turn to the first page. The very first page of your book is something you will not find in other trainers' books. It is my actual federal copyright. This book is so unique and so different than anything you will see anywhere that I actually put my registered federal copyright as the first page of the book, and the second page is the back of it. That's the actual document, because through the years, so many people have stolen my material and presented it to be their own. I have created so much of what has become standard practice in the car business. Let's face it, I've been doing this for 40 years, since 1976. I have created so much that has become standard practice in our industry, and a lot of people are claiming it to be their own. So if you'll turn past my copyright to page 4. Let's talk about what we are here to talk about. We are here to develop advanced menu selling competency, high profitability with zero liability. It's okay to make a high profit in F&I, but we got to be sure that we don't create a liability or expose our dealership to the possibility of lawsuits, fines, and prosecutions. We got to be sure that we do it legally. The menu is the way we do this. The menu, and I'm going to spend a lot of time this morning on the menu. Why we use a menu sale, what a menu sale is all about, and how a menu sale legally protects a dealership. If you're not using a menu, you are not legal. And you cannot prove that you legally delivered the car, no matter what you say. It documents proper disclosure. It documents that you sold the car ethically and you did it the right way. We are here to maximize unit sales from finance and leasing, a stated dealership objective, ethical that's some shit I wrote for Saturn, forget that. Okay. Consultant sales counseling methods. Part of what I'm going to talk about today is getting out there in front of the consumer, interviewing the consumer, and putting the consumer in the right frame of mind and getting more information to get a better callback. When I was in F&I day in and day out, and I set records, I was able to set records not strictly because I was so good at delivering cars, but really I set the records and I did the high numbers because I was so good at getting the best approvals from the banks. Working the lenders is a better skill than selling in the box. You follow what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you today, with DealerTrack and Route 1 and automated credit processing, working the lenders is rapidly becoming a lost art. And the dealerships that attend my seminars are scoring big numbers because we're getting better callbacks, less conditions, and less restrictions on the loans we get approved. You know, I see people throw it in DealerTrack, and if DealerTrack says it's approved, you're accepting whatever approval comes back with whatever conditions. Very few dealers are rehashing the deals with a credit supervisor and getting a better callback. So the ability to pick up a telephone and to work the deal after the initial callback is very important. So we're going to talk about how to do that. I'm going to give you scripts and ways to do that. I'm going to show you how to work the lenders, what to say to the lenders, and more importantly, I think the best part of this seminar is a consumer credit counseling interview. When you get in front of a customer and you change their attitude, you change their perception of who they're dealing with. I see very few F&I managers go out to the consumer and conduct a credit interview before they come in to meet you. One thing I see in dealerships that just blows my mind, and we were joking earlier about credit challenged individuals, people with bad credit. They know who they are. But one thing I see is when a sales department is negotiating with people with bad credit, and they discover they have bad credit. They pull a bureau, they got a credit score on this person, and they continue to negotiate with people with bad credit. You've already identified they've got bad credit, and you're continuing to discount the deal, even after you found out they've got bad credit. Excuse me, once you identify bad credit, that's when you throw the F&I manager in front of them and you stop the deal. That's when you stop the deal and F&I takes over. And most dealerships are not set up that way, because the sales manager wants to work that deal to the end, give up all the money, and we got a certified Dawg here. We might not even get them approved, but we're still getting them additional discounts. The credit interview. And we need to perfect that skill. We're here to develop. Does anybody in the room still sell Credit Life? Got a couple that do. I'm going to spend a minimal amount of time on Credit Life because it's pretty much a dying product right now. I'm going to spend some time on it. But parts and labor agreements, service contracts, that should be one of your highest profit centers. You have two high profit centers in products today: service contracts and gap protection. Those are almost automatics. Tire and wheel is another product. But it's not the profit center that gap and service contracts are. To be able to sell service contracts with high penetration, high profitability, and low chargebacks. Very important, the word tracks that you use. I'm going to spend a lot of time on locking in that product. When you are selling off a menu, the very first thing you lock in is the service contract sale. You make sure you get that if you don't get anything else. That is the first item at the top of every column on a printed menu or an electronic menu. And the service contract's your highest profitability. In all 50 states, it's a high profitability item, and there's only 2 states, Florida and I believe it's Wyoming, where you're legislated, or actually the insurance commissioner tells you what you have to sell them for. In Florida, you're locked in on what you can sell a service contract for, right? Yep. You're one of the 2 states that does that. All the other states, it's fair market value. Whatever the consumer will pay, whatever the bank will finance. So bear in mind that service contract is your highest profitability item. Now, by the way, it is not a warranty. I heard people this morning call it a warranty. I believe you did, Jesse. I think I heard you say this morning that it was a warranty. Didn't you use that terminology?
I don't believe so.
Well, maybe Dave used it to you. One of the 2 of you said it. It was you.
It's not a warranty, though.
It's not a warranty. You cannot call it a warranty. It is not a warranty. The Magnus and Moss Warranty Act says it's illegal to call it a warranty. It's a service contract. I prefer to call it a parts and labor agreement, because that's what Best Buy calls it. That's what the department stores call their service contracts. You can call it a service contract. You can call it a service agreement. There's a whole lot of things you can call it, but you cannot call it a warranty. Because the Magnus and Moss Warranty Act says to be called a warranty, it must be given to everybody, it must be free, and it must be provided by the manufacturer. And our service contracts don't come under any of those qualifications. They're not free, they're not necessarily provided by the manufacturer, and they're not given to everybody. So what we have to understand is a service contract, I prefer to call it a parts and labor agreement, and I don't even like to sell people a contract. I like to enroll them in a program. Especially when I go down to Florida where we have a lot of senior citizens. These people are not first-time buyers, they are last-time buyers. Everybody got that? You know, and one thing about old people, and I'm an old person, I'm 69 years old, I don't mind telling you that. You know, one thing about old people is they don't like to buy a contract, but they will enroll in everything. Right? So I don't sell old people a service contract, I enroll them in a parts and labor program. Now, sir, this package includes enrollment in our 7-year, 100,000-mile parts and labor program, as opposed to buying a contract. So we enroll people in the program. If you got I can't hold this post, take that shot. You got it. So I enroll people in the program. Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about tire and wheel protection. Gap protection. How many people sell Gap? Now, the New Yorkers back are shaking their heads. And why are you shaking your heads?
Can't mark it up.
Can't mark it up. You can't make a profit. Yeah. I was in New York here a couple weeks ago. I was at Island Nissan in Staten Island. Now, the Island group recently had some difficulties, not any fault of their own. But got to tell you, there are all sorts of legal pitfalls out there right now. Now, Gap, I love Gap. Gap is a product I can sell, and I'm going to give you some great word tracks for selling that. What else are we selling? Anything I haven't mentioned? Environmental protection? Anybody selling chemicals? A couple of you selling environmental protection packages. Maintenance because you're doing a lot of leasing?
Yeah, well, both sides, actually.
Now, one thing about leasing is cyclical. Somebody shut that door for me, would you please?